Hi everyone, Aaron here for Zollotech, and in 2 weeks we should see the first beta of iOS 14. In 2 weeks, iOS 14 should be revealed at WWDC, where it will be a little bit different than previous years, where they'll actually have it remote and everyone will be able to tune in live, we believe. So we should be able to see that, and we'll see the first version of iOS 14 and all of the new features. So I wanted to share with you what we know with iOS 14 so far as what to expect. And the first thing is, every other year, and I've talked about this in the past, it seems like iOS is less stable and then it's more stable and then it's less stable and more stable. And so iOS 14 should be all about stability. It should be much better, but only time will tell. Also, the devices I expect it to be available on seem to be hinting more and more that it will still be on the iPhone 6S. So if you have an iPhone 6S or a 6S Plus or one of the older devices, it looks like it's still going to be supported. And that will be the first time Apple has really supported older devices that long, but it seems like a reasonable conclusion, and so hopefully we see that. Now, the first thing is features that we expect, and the first thing is a list view. Now, on the Apple Watch, we have a list view already. So if you just click the digital crown here, instead of sorting this by kind of that grid view they call it, you can just press and hold and go to list view, and you have everything sorted alphabetically. We should see something similar to that with iOS 14 if the information is correct. And so if I go into photos here, I created this quite some time ago, but this would give you an idea of what it might look like, where you'd be able to search your app at the top and have everything alphabetically, so you could just tap on whatever app you want. I don't know if there'll be a quick way to enter into that or something else, but maybe we'll see that. And then another thing that some people are saying we might see and others are saying we might not are widgets on the home screen, where we could resize maybe the weather widget or the weather app to maybe take up 4 squares or 4 app icons. And sort of these widgets here, similar to that, maybe we'd be able to have our battery for our devices maybe at the top. We don't know if this is true yet. Some people are saying to expect it. Others are saying not to expect it. But we should see something similar to the control center as far as this goes. So maybe we'll have resizable icons. Hopefully we will, but we don't know 100%. Now, there's new information about an augmented reality app. I've talked about this in the past, and apparently its code name is Gobi. And what it would allow us to do is scan QR codes, which is kind of weird because we can already scan QR codes with the built-in camera app if you have them, but it looks like it may have something to do with maybe later on with augmented reality glasses, something like that, but we can expect something similar to that in the future. What it does exactly, we'll have to wait and see. Now, along with an activity app that we have here, it looks like you can expect a fitness app as well. So not only will you have your activity and your workouts, but maybe a separate workouts or fitness app where you can compete with friends or join in with friends remotely and do the same workouts regularly. So it looks like maybe we'll have something like that, whether it be trends or workouts or whatever you'd like. Hopefully we'll have a separate app for that. Now, one thing I'm looking forward to, if this is true, is the ability to change the default app. So for example, maybe you're in Twitter and you want to open a web link, but you want it to open not in Safari, but maybe Chrome or Firefox or another browser. Hopefully we'll have that ability. The same is true with mail. So maybe we want to open email, send an email to someone. Instead of having to actually tap the link, copy things, and then go into our current email app, we would be able to go into our settings here and configure which application is default, such as Safari or Mail, maybe even music. We could change stock music to Spotify, something like that. We've been able to do that for years on Mac, so there's no reason we can't do that on an iPhone. So hopefully we'll see that on iPhone and iPad as well. Now, aside from third-party defaults, there was something really exciting with Wallpaper. Now, I know a lot of you love the wallpapers that I put in every video, and I always link them in the description. And this particular update should have, or iOS 14 should have, a revamped wallpaper section. So if you go into Wallpaper, you go to Choose New Wallpaper. Instead of having what we see here, we would have a way to organize them into categories. So instead of just stills, we could have maybe gradients or maybe live motion, or maybe ones that even switch over time. There's been some leaks about what this could look like, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's the final version. But it looks like we'll be able to categorize our wallpaper and sort them. That would be really helpful for not only people that use iOS 14, but myself as well when I share them with you. Now, one of the newer bits of information about iOS 14 is that Safari may have a built-in translator. So maybe you go to Apple's website, or maybe you're on a different website and you only read English, but it's in Spanish or Japanese. You'd be able to actually translate it within the application itself instead of having to use, say, Google Translate. So maybe you go up here, tap on the menu button here, and maybe hit a button that says translate, and then we'd be able to see exactly what all of this says if it's not in the language we natively speak. So hopefully we'll see something like that. That would be a great feature. Google Translate does a great job, but if it's built into Safari, I'd welcome that. Now, a feature I use all the time is Find My. This app is very helpful if you have family members that maybe you want to know where they are or how close they are to you, and it looks like it's going to get a new feature where it will allow you to actually let you know if they don't arrive somewhere. So maybe you have a child going off to college. It should take them a couple hours to get there. And if they're not there in a couple hours, it would let you know, and it would alert you, and you could check in on them. So you could not only see where they're at, but it would let you know that, hey, they didn't hit this waypoint or this specific spot at this time. Of course, this would all have to be allowed. And I have my family members on here and I use it all the time, but that would be an additional feature that would be great. Now, within Find My, it looks like we're going to get some new AirTags. So that will be really nice. We'll have the ability to maybe have an AirTag that's something we could place in a backpack or something that we want to keep track of. We'd be able to track it within the Find My app as well. So that would be really nice. And not only your Apple Watch, iPad, and Mac, for example, or iPhone, you'll be able to track whatever you'd want. So you could maybe put it in a backpack that has a MacBook or something valuable in it and be able to track it if you lost it, or maybe someone took it, you'd still be able to track it. Now, something I think that would be really valuable that supposedly is coming to iOS 14 is the ability to restore the iPhone without using a Mac. So currently you can restore it, but if you have an issue on the way, maybe it doesn't work right, it goes into recovery mode, you have to plug it into a Mac and then restore it, or a Windows computer with iTunes. There may be a new way to where you can actually plug your iPhone into your iPad or maybe someone else's iPhone to help you restore it. So instead of having to have a Mac around or a computer, you'll be able to restore between devices or just have an internet recovery like Mac does as well. So I would really welcome that. It makes a lot of sense, and hopefully we see that with iOS 14. Now, with iOS 14, Keychain should get an update where it has more advanced features. Now, currently, if you use a password manager, it could be 1Password, it could be LastPass, or any of the others out there. It should get more advanced features like those, but built into iOS itself. So you'll have under your settings, you've got passwords and accounts. And if you put your passwords in here, you can have a different password for every account you have to help keep it secure. And that's something I've been doing for years. So with that, we may get additional features. So what those are specifically, I'm not sure yet, but I look forward to maybe having it replace a password manager. But I do like to have passwords in different places just because I don't necessarily want everything with Apple or everything with Google, for example. Now, with iOS 14, it looks like HomeKit should be getting a significant update as well. Not necessarily a redesign, but more features that would allow you to customize things like your home. So, for example, where your phone could go to dark mode based on the time of day, or it does night shift, for example, you could set your lights in your house to do the same thing through HomeKit. So as the sun goes down or comes up in the morning, you'd be able to turn your lights on and off and have them sort of fade in between if that's a possibility. So that would be really nice. Right now, you can just kind of toggle things on and off and it works fine. So if I toggle this on, it takes a second and then your lights might turn on. And it works fine, but it's not necessarily highly customizable. So more options would be great, and maybe simplify it a bit as well. Now, with iOS 14, there should be some great updates to accessibility, specifically for the hearing impaired. So that would be something that I would really welcome for those that have hearing impairments. What it will allow it to do is actually use the microphone in the phone and listen for things like sirens or maybe a fire alarm going off. And if it does, it will use haptic feedback within the phone to alert you that there's something going on. And so if you have that issue, that's another great addition to accessibility. And Apple really keeps focusing on this year to year and has been adding some great features. Now there's continuous mention of car key. Now I've talked about this with iOS 13.5 and up, and it looks like the code is already in there to support using your phone as your car key. So if you have an NFC based car key, similar to maybe a Tesla, or in fact BMW looks to be the first one to do this, where you can use your phone to actually unlock your car, not only through an app, but by being able to be near it or tap your phone to that car. So that looks like something that should be coming very soon. We haven't seen it with iOS 13, so probably with iOS 14. Now there's a few more things. One of them has to do with the Eclipse API, which would allow some apps to be activated even when not installed. Now Google does have something similar to this. So for example, maybe you'd use your phone, scan a QR code, and then it would open the App Store and show you a little card similar to what we get in here. Maybe we'd have a card like this, but the app would be active somewhat so that we could use it. And then if we need to install it, we can. So it would sort of let you use parts of the app without actually fully installing the app. So it looks like this is going to be coming up, and it will be helpful for those that don't want to fully install an app, but want to see parts of that information that someone sends you. For example, maybe someone sends you a music link for Spotify, but you don't have Spotify. It could go into the App Store, grab that part of Spotify, play the music back without installing the app overall. With iPadOS, we should get all of the features I've already mentioned, but we should also get some additional features with the Apple Pencil. So if all the information is true, all of those features will come to the iPad and iPad Pro, iPad Air, and Mini, but we should get additional features if we're using an Apple Pencil. So if you have a first or second generation pencil, the idea is you'll have more features to interact more easily within Safari and maybe other apps. We'll have more options for maybe circling something, interacting with it in real time, and then maybe sending it off to someone else. So you can scroll now, you can sort of select things, go into it, but there's supposed to be more interactions throughout. So hopefully we'll see that, and it will be really interesting to see what Apple has for that. And then finally, there should be some updates for shortcuts within the iPad so that if you're using a keyboard, you can turn up things like the volume without having to have a little strip at the top of your keyboard to allow you to do that. So with a Mac, you've got all those different easy function keys, but on iPad with a Magic Keyboard, you don't. So you have to go to the top right, turn the brightness up or down, and that's not horrible, but it'd be nice to be able to do everything from the keyboard, and it looks like they're working on shortcuts for that. And so that's everything we know so far. I would expect a few things we don't know, of course. Hopefully it's better than we expect, and hopefully it's a lot more stable than iOS 13. So I'm looking forward to that. It's only a couple of weeks away, and hopefully there's some really exciting features with it. But let me know your thoughts about it in the comments below. Of course, I'll link this wallpaper in the description as I always do. And if you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe. And if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. As always, thanks for watching. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time.